and bring in Dale Jr., Dale Earnhardt, driver of the number 88 Diet Mountain Dew National Guard car. When you have problems with your crew, how do you address that? Are you a yeller, screamer? How do you do it?
Well, I'm not a yeller or screamer. I try to get those guys to forget about it. If they've made a mistake or we've had a trouble on pit road, try to get them to think about the next opportunity, try to redeem themselves. If we're struggling in practice, practice is time's real precious in practice, and you got like an hour to set the car up and to get speed for the race. And if you're behind, you run out of patience. So I get like, kind of stern in situations like that where I'm like, you guys got to pick up the urgency here. We're running, this is a race. We're here to win this race, and we're running out of time. This is our moment. Let's try to get this thing right.
Well, it's hard to do it when it's on TV, when your microphone's on, because we can hear you.
Absolutely, yeah. That brings a lot into it too. I've learned my lesson by hearing myself on Monday. During the shows that review the races, and listening to some of the comments that I might have made in the past, where you say things that aren't flattering, and it's not fun. So I've learned my lesson because I know during the race everybody's listening.
Did you guys fill out brackets? Do drivers compete against drivers, or is it more teams with the NCAA?
It's more teams. I think me and Jimmy and all the guys in the 48-88 shop filled out brackets, and we actually invited the fans to join in. I don't think it was no more than about 75 people, but this is the first year I've done it, so I'm kind of hooked now. Something to do. I love fantasy sports, and something to do till football comes back around.
What do you like on a Sunday with fantasy football?
Well, I got a little bit of time. I got like 45 minutes in between the drivers' meeting and drivers' intros, which is right before the race. So I got like 45 minutes there to look at my roster and make sure I'm starting who I want to start. And I'm keeping up with Matthew Berry and all those guys about what their recommendations are, and I fiddle with that stuff throughout the week. But on Sunday, it is what it is. You got to start who you want to start. You can't second guess yourself, and it's a long enough season you can make up for mistakes, but you got to know who you got on your team and what they're capable of doing, and be confident in the decision to start who you start.
Did you ever get an update during a race on your fantasy team?
Only when it's good. I mean, my spotter TJ Majors, he's in a bunch of fantasy leagues with me,
yeah,
and he knows what gets me excited. He knows what changes my morale or changes my attitude. If he wants to get me pumped up, he'll tell me if the Redskins are winning, he'll tell me. If I'm beating the hell out of somebody in fantasy football, he'll tell me. So those kind of things get me excited, get me happy, change my demeanor if it needs to be changed, I guess.
He's Dale Jr., driver of the number 88 Chevy, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. We had Denny Hamlin on earlier in the week, and the picture he painted of the run-in with Joey Logano, I mean, I understand part of, the aspect of racing, and it's going to be like this, but your thoughts on Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano?
Yeah, it sucks to see Denny get injured because he's fun to race with. He's a good guy to have on the racetrack, and he's a good guy for the sport. He speaks his mind, and certainly he's, created a good amount of publicity this year, speaking his mind. But he's good for the sport, and the sport will miss him not being there for the weeks while he recoups. But with their little dust up, I mean, that kind of thing happens between drivers. They just got some personality conflicts, and they don't quite mesh right now. Whether they ever will again, I don't know. But there's just some guys that you just don't click with. The personalities just grind against each other, and it doesn't work out. And you just you chalk it up, and you try to race everybody with respect. And I'm sure they'll get to where they can run around each other on the racetrack without any problems again. But there's just a little pushing and shoving going on, and both of them trying to stand their ground, and somebody will, they'll both walk away, hopefully feeling like they made a stand of some sort and gain some respect one way or the other. But who knows how long that might take.
It seemed like NASCAR liked it, embraced it.
Yeah.
Nobody got fined or suspended.
Right. I mean, I think as long as NASCAR's not fining and suspending people, they don't really see a problem with what's going on the racetrack. And that kind of stuff does bring publicity. I mean, those kind of confrontations and rivalries do bring a lot of publicity. They do get fans talking about it around the water cooler on Monday, and it gets them to tune into the next race to see what might happen and see what might go on between those drivers. So I think it's healthy for the sport. As long as, there's lines that you can't cross when it gets a little too dangerous or people start intentionally wrecking each other, or the confrontations spill out into the pits and the crew members are putting up dukes. I mean, we don't want that kind of stuff going on every week, because it's just, there's a fine line where you want to stand your ground, be tough, race hard, but you don't want to make a fool of yourself on TV and national television either. So, you have to know how to fight. You got to pick your battles and know how to fight them.
What do you think your dad would think of today's NASCAR?
I think he'd be happy with the growth and happy with the, what all we've accomplished as a sport. I think, I don't really know what he'd think about personalities, individuals. I don't know how what he'd think about one guy versus the next. I don't know. I think he would like the new Gen 6 car that we got. I think he'd definitely think it's a move in the right direction compared to the COT that we used to race. I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't have liked the COT very much. But it's hard to say when it comes down to particulars like individual people, individual drivers, driving styles, what the rules are, particular rules. I don't really know how he'd have an opinion on certain things like that. But I think he'd be kind of pleased with how, the direction overall.
What are you doing with Sprint?
What am I doing with Sprint? I'm doing a new program. Basically, it's to promote safer driving, not texting while you're driving. They have a new app, Sprint does, where you can set your phone so while you're driving down the street, if somebody texts you, it'll tell them that you're driving, that you can't text them back, and that you'll text them when you get an opportunity. And it's called the Drive First app by Sprint. So it's pretty cool. Always trying to do the right thing and promote good causes. I think it's a great cause because I know how dangerous that could be on the road trying to text and drive at the same time. It's just gets you a lot of trouble.
You could win the Sprint Cup championship, or the Redskins win the Super Bowl.
I got to pick between the two.
Yep.
I got to take the championship. My Skins love them to death. They got 5 national titles. And I don't have any, so I'm going to have to say that I'd like to win a championship. I think they're building a team that can probably compete. They competed last year. I think they compete again this year, even with the salary penalties, which I don't think are very cool. But I think that they're building a team that'll be able to compete for years to come. I'd like to win my championship now. Get that out of the way.
Who's closer to winning a championship?
Oh man, that's a pretty good one. I think they proved last year they got all the pieces that they need to compete. They had they were lucky enough to bring everybody back pretty much. So I feel confident in the Redskins to get back to the playoffs and maybe get a little further into the playoffs.
Yeah, but you're closer to winning a championship than the Redskins, right?
Well, I haven't got to me yet.
Oh.
But I think our team's really in position to make it happen this year. We were a good team last year. We led the points in mid-season in the points. We were one of the teams that were in the conversation. When you ask even other drivers, my peers, they would mention us, and that's when you know you're there. That's when you know when you're right on the verge of making it happen. Is when even your peers are admitting to your performance and your abilities. So I think we're a better team this year. We're obviously showing that in the first several races, how we ran and how we competed and finished. We're leading the points and all that good stuff. So if we can do this at the end of the season, that's all we need to do. We just need to get more points than anybody else.
Just call your shot, saying you win the title. Do a Joe Namath here, Junior.
Yeah, I don't think I got the guts to do that. Joe was pretty gutsy. But and I don't know if he realized what he was doing when he said that, but he thought he was some benefit dinner somewhere. Nobody was listening. But
you had a couple of beverages, probably.
He did. Yeah, I imagine he had one or two.
Hey, good to visit with you again. Good luck, and thanks for the update on the Sprint app there.
Yes, sir. It's always good to be on the show. I appreciate you having me.
All right, Junior. That's Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think he's got 200,000 Twitter followers, but he's never tweeted once. Keeps him waiting, just in case he sends out a tweet.